the spirit of Philadelphia is the spirit of America. We've got no kings here. We've got no queens here. We've got no emperors. We've got no titles of nobility here. President Trump, happy 79th birthday. Sorry we couldn't make it to your party, but we did pay for it. You are not our king, and we are not your subjects. We will never be your subjects. The people are sovereign, and we are all equal in the eyes of the law. All of us born here on this land are citizens, and your executive order is nothing but bad graffiti on the Constitution, and we're going to wash it off today. We've got no kings and we've got no slaves. We've got no masters and no serfs. Those of us who aspire and attain to public office are nothing but the servants of the people. And the moment that somebody in public office begins to act like the master of the people, that is the moment to evict, eject, reject, impeach, try, convict, and start all over again. Under Article 1, President Trump, your job is simple: to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. That's it. In the monarchies, Tom Paine said, the king is the law, but in the democracies and the free societies, the law is king. But you didn't get that memo, did you, Mr. President? You've been violating the law. You've been trampling the law. You've been ignoring the law, acting as if it's irrelevant to the only thing that matters, which is your own wealth and power. What if Thomas Jefferson were here? What if Abraham Lincoln were here? What would they say? They would say, cut it out. Stop violating the rights of the people. Stop trespassing on the powers of Congress. Stop staging provocations against the members of Congress and other parts of the government. Stop violating the orders of the courts. President Trump, your gangster state just threw Senator Padilla to the ground, kneeled on his back, and handcuffed him. Your agents barged into Congressman Nadler's office and handcuffed and traumatized his young staffer. Your guys arrested a judge in Wisconsin. You indicted Representative LaMonica MacGyver from New Jersey on phony charges, and she now faces 17 years in prison. You're terrorizing American communities with masked men in unmarked cars, arresting people without warrants. You pardoned 1,600 felon rioters and insurrectionists who brutally injured 140 police officers on January 6, 2021. You're auctioning off pardons to Republican criminals in D.C. like they're selling cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. You're a billion-dollar crypto king now who dropped dozens of charges against crypto scammers. And now you want to fly around on Bribe Force One, an illegal $400 million jumbo jet gift grift from the emirs of Qatar. You sent the Marines to California. You hijacked the National Guard there. You threatened to seize the lawful power of the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, and the chief of police, and you threatened to send heavy force to cities all over America this weekend to remind us of your love. But you know what? I don't see anybody trembling in Philadelphia today. I don't see anybody hiding behind the couch crying bone spurs today. It's raining and I see nothing but tens of thousands of patriots wherever I turn. And we paid for our own rally today. It's not on the taxpayers. We march with millions of people across America to celebrate not the people in power, but the power of the people. We march in cadence with the great civilizing, nonviolent movements of American history, the abolitionists, the suffragists, the bonus marchers, the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the labor movement, the peace movement, the women's march, the environmental movement, the LGBTQ movement, March for Our Lives, and the climate movement. We may not be founding fathers in the 18th century, but we are founding fighters in the 21st century. So what do you say, Philly? You ready to fight back? You want a gangster state, or do you want free speech and democracy in America? You want a king? You want a king who thinks, like all kings, that women are his property and he can grab whomever he wants, wherever he wants? Or do you want a democracy run by strong women and strong men, strong enough to be the allies of women and not their attackers and harassers? You want a king who stages coups and insurrections and lies about elections? Or do you want a constitutional right to vote in America? Free from all the gerrymandering and voter suppression. Do you want an imperialist takeover of Greenland and Canada and Panama? Or do you want statehood for Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico? Hey, you want a king who tries to erase history and disappear the truth? Or do you want Bruce Springsteen who tells them the truth all over the world? You know, Donald Trump never talks about the framers because he knows nothing about them. But the framers knew a lot about people like Donald Trump. Sometime between now and the 4th of July, Mr. President, you must read the Declaration of Independence because Thomas Jefferson could have been writing about you. He told the people of America to rise up against King George and his lust for absolute tyranny. Jefferson denounced a king who, quote, sent swarms of officers to harass our people, who kept amongst us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures and quartered large bodies of armed troops amongst us. A king who cut off our trade with all parts of the world and imposed tariffs and taxes on us without our consent. A king who excited domestic insurrections against us. A king who repeatedly obstructed the laws of naturalization of foreigners to our land. A king who tried to make judges dependent on his political will alone. Yes, Donald, the Declaration and the Constitution were written by people who wanted to stop criminal bosses like you from taking state power. We the people, in order for a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and preserve to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of liberty, do hereby ordain and establish the Constitution of these United States of America. That's our preamble. That's our mission statement. And the very next sentence in Article 1 provides all legislative powers shall be vested in a Congress of the United States of America. The People's Branch, the lawmaking body for whom the president works as an executive. Sometimes people say we're three co-equal branches. Really, first of all, co-equal is not even a word, okay? That's like extremely unique. If we're co-equal, why is it Congress has the power to impeach a president for treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors, and he doesn't have the right to impeach us? Congress has the power to pass budgets and taxes. We've got the power to create departments and spend money. We have the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and therefore to enact tariffs, which is why his tariffs have been struck down by United States District Court. We've got the power to declare war, not the president. If anybody's going to declare war on Venezuela, it's going to be the Congress of the United States, not Stephen Miller or Tulsi Gabbard or Pete Hegseth or anyone else in their Signal chat room. No, you don't get to be a monarch or a dictator in America, and you don't get to be on the payroll of monarchs and dictators from other countries. Sorry, Donald, you don't get to keep the millions of dollars you've pocketed from Saudi Arabia, from China, from the United Arab Emirates or Qatar. You've got to return all the money your golf courses and country clubs have gotten from the Secret Service, the Department of Defense and Commerce, and so on. Our government is not your personal ATM machine. His son, Donald Trump Jr., says, my dad doesn't even accept his salary. I'm sorry, that's all he's allowed to accept. The framers were clear. You get paid by the people of the United States to whom you owe a duty, not Putin and the kleptocrats of Russia, not bin Salman and the theocrats of Saudi Arabia, not Orban or the autocrats of Egypt and Turkey. The framers wanted an undivided duty to the American people. You can't sell out our Constitution to build your luxury hotels in Gaza or a golf course in Greenland. My friends, the people are winning all over America. The bullies are on the run. We ran Elon Musk out of town. And Musk now says that Trump should be impeached, and Trump says that Musk should be investigated for his tens of billions of dollars in federal contracts, and for once, they're both right. My friends, fascism will not be the end of American democracy. American democracy will be the end of fascism. We will stand up for democracy and human rights and freedom all over the world. We will stand with President Zelensky and the people of Ukraine against Putin's filthy, bloodthirsty invasion. We will stand with the people of Greenland, the people of Europe and Africa, the people of Canada and Mexico for our common right to trade with each other, to respect each other, to travel and migrate and seek asylum without fear and without terror. We are the ones fighting against terror and tyranny today. And I look at you today, Philadelphia, and I know we are winning. We are winning. I will leave you with the words of the great Tom Paine, who my son Tommy was named after. And Tom Paine got to this beautiful city in 1774, 2 years before the American Revolution. He fell in love with your city, and he fell in love with this land. He said, if America lives up to its values and its ideals, it will become, he said, an asylum to humanity. Not an insane asylum, mind you, okay? A place of refuge for people seeking freedom from religious and political and intellectual and economic repression from around the world. And then he wrote the greatest pamphlet in our history, Common Sense, which ignited the American Revolution against the kings and the queens and the lords and the dictators. But 1776 was a tough year, and the country was split down the middle, and half of the people were saying, you can't beat the greatest military empire that ever existed. You can't overthrow a tyrannical king. It won't work, they said. But half the people said, let's give it a try. Let's pledge to ourselves our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor to build a government that rests on the consent of the governed and the rights and the freedoms of the people. But in 1776, Paine wrote another pamphlet called the American Crisis, to give people hope, to see it through all the way. And I'm going to quote a little passage for you. I'm going to update the language pursuant to instructions from Nancy Pelosi, because she said Tom Paine was a feminist and he wouldn't mind. And that he was. He was fighting for women's voting rights in the 18th century. But Paine said this. He said, "These are the times that try men and women's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will shrink at this moment from the service of their cause and their country. But everyone that stands with us now will win the love and the favor and the affection of every man and every woman for all time. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, but we have this saving consolation. The more difficult the struggle, the more glorious in the end will be our victory. That victory will be ours, Philadelphia. Thank you, Indivisible. Thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you, America."